Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 1, questions by the sages, text 11. Bhuvini bhuvi karmani shrotvayani vibhagasa atasato trayatsaram samutrijya manisyam bhuvi bhadraya bhutanam yanatma shubhasiddhati. Translation. There are many varieties of scriptures, and in all of them there are many prescribed duties, which can be learned only after many years of study in their various divisions. Therefore, sage, please select the essence of all the scriptures, explain it for the good of all living beings, that by such instruction their hearts may be fully satisfied. Purport. Atma or self is distinguished from matter and material elements. It is spiritual in constitution, and thus it is never satisfied by any amount of material planning. All scriptures and spiritual instructions are meant for the satisfaction of this self or Atma. There are many varieties of approaches which are recommended for different types of living beings in different times and at different places. Consequently, the numbers of revealed scriptures are innumerable. There are different methods and prescribed duties recommended in these various scriptures. Taking into consideration the fallen condition of the people in general, in this age of Kali, the sage of Namisaranya suggested that Sutta Goswami relate the essence of all such scriptures, because in this age it is not possible for the fallen souls to understand and undergo all the lessons of these various scriptures in a Varnashram and Ashram system. The Varna and Ashram society was considered to be the best institution for lifting the human being onto the spiritual platform, but due to Kali Yuga, it is not possible to execute the rules and regulations of these institutions. Nor is it possible for the people in general to completely sever relationships with their families, as the Varnashram institution prescribes. The whole atmosphere is surcharged with opposition. And considering this, one can see that spiritual emancipation for the common man in this age is very difficult. The reason the sages presented this matter to Sri Sutta Goswami is explained in the following verses. I read the verse again. Bhuini bhuvi karmani shrotyapyani vibhagasa atasato trayatsaram samutritya manisaya bhuvi bhadraya bhutanam yanatma shubhasiddhati. There are many varieties of scriptures, and in all of them there are many prescribed duties which can be learned only after many years of study in their various divisions. Therefore, sage, select the essence of all scriptures and explain this for the good of all living beings, that by such instruction their hearts may be fully satisfied. Om Ajnanatimandasya Chinansinam Smakyan Sakshamitam Yena Tasmai Spurve Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Nam. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pachani Nirvasi Sarsinavadi Paspachani Desa Tagine Srila Prabhupada Ki. So this sloka shows that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all scripture. That the goal of the Vedas is spiritual upliftment. That So the ultimate objective of the living entity, or of the Vedas, or ultimate objective of the Vedas is to help the living entity, to uplift them spiritually, and finally to attain the realm of Goloka Vrindavan. That this is being very wonderfully described in the Bhagavatam. But how do the Vedas point to that? That we will try to clarify today. Sometimes people ask us, what's the Vedas about? What's the purpose? That you can explain, the Vedas means the Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and each Veda is 4 parts. The Samhita, the text, and then the Brahmanas that explains how to pronounce it, and then Aranyakas, the sacrifices that goes with each of the Vedas, and then the Upanishads, that's the spiritual knowledge. But how does it point to the Vedas? Because Vedas means also the Itihasas, the Puranas, that so the Vedanta Sutra, all Vedas. That so this verse describes that the previous verse as described, that in this age of Kali, people are completely unqualified, lazy in terms of spiritual advancement, always disturbed, upadruta. That so all living entities also in this age have a short lifespan. A lifespan, it is said in the 12th canto, at the end of Kali Yuga, people will live for 20 years and they will have considered to have a very long life. 20 years. So they are lazy in terms of spiritual endeavor. That's the condition that we are living in. So the Vedas are vast, and in the Vedas, innumerable duties are described. That unless one has understood the entirety of the Vedas, one cannot understand the essence of the Vedas. Just by taking different sections of the Vedas, we cannot possibly understand the Vedas. When people study different sections of the Vedas and try to understand the purpose of the Vedas, what's happening? They become atheists. So in the Gita Mahatya, the Vedas are compared to cow. And Krishna is compared to coward boy. And so Krishna is standing the Vedas. Of course, when there is the cow to give milk, we need a calf. And the calf is Arjuna. So he makes Arjuna the nimitta, the object. So Krishna, the coward boy, milked the cow. And what is this essence? This essence we find in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also called Gita Upanishad. So the essence of all the Upanishad, the 4th part of each Veda, the spiritual knowledge of the Vedas, the essence. And we find some verses in Bhagavad Gita. You find also in the Katha Upanishad and other Upanishads, practically word for word. So the essence is what is important. The essence of the cow is milk. Milk is our food. Rejecting the milk but accepting a different part of the cow's body, then you become a meat eater. It's very simple. Similarly, if one accepts different parts of the cow's body, rejecting the essence of or the milk, that is actually meaningless. It's just throwing out of the context. So it's very important to understand what is the essential teachings of the Vedas that has been profoundly explained to this question and the answer on that question. So please give us the essence of the Vedas, which completely satisfied the turbulence of the mind. So the mind is very agitated on the material platform, but when one gets to understand the essence of the Vedas, what's the result? One becomes satisfied. So Krishna also explains in Bhagavad Gita that the Vedas are apparently dealing with the three modes of nature. But he advises, Nistra Gunya, he said, you should transcend these modes of material nature. Because unless we transcend the modes of nature, one cannot understand the meaning of the Vedas. That's the point. One must transcend the Vedas. And Traigunya Vishyavida Nistra Gunya Bhavayuna. Nirtvantvo Sattvasto Niryogaksema Atmavan. Bhagavad Gita 2.4.5. The Vedas deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. And Arjuna, you should become transcendental to these modes. So be free from all dualities and anxiety and gain and safety and be established in yourself. Some parts of the Vedas are dealing with the mode of goodness, some with passion and some with ignorance. There are 18 Puranas. 6 are dealing with the mode of goodness, 6 are dealing with the mode of passion, and 6 are dealing with ignorance. Actually, 6 in the mode of goodness, there are only 5 with the mode of goodness. The 6th is the Bhagavatam, and the Suddha Sattva, it's transcendental. So this is described as in the Bhagavatam of the Amala Purana, spotless Purana, for those who are non-envious. But the Srimad Bhagavatam is the only Purana that does not have the contamination of the modes of nature. So one must transcend the modes of nature and come to the transcendental platform. So the Vedic philosophy has been systematically arranged and be divided in 3 parts. And I will see if I can share this with you. But it may be good to have it a bit visually. So the Vedas have been described in 3 kandas. And the first is the Jnana Kanda. The second one, the first is Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda. And the third one is Upasana. These are the 3 levels that so it's organized, the Vedas, in these 3 sections. Why? Because of the needs of people, according to time, place, and circumstances. When one identifies himself with the body, then one becomes engaged in physical activities. The need is clarified to the Karma Kanda section, these physical activities. Engaged on the body platform, one wants to be active and enjoy material nature. So the Karma Kanda section instructs how one should act and how to get pleasure. But then one needs to transcend this bodily platform and come to the gross bodily and transcends the gross bodily platform and come to the subtle intellectual platform. So that is the gross bodily platform. And this is the subtle bodily platform. And then on the intellectual platform, one becomes naturally inclined to knowledge. So Karma Kanda is the gross bodily platform. The Jnana Kanda is the subtle, we can say, bodily of intellectual platform. Intellectual. So if one transcends the intellectual platform, one comes to the spiritual platform, which is the Upasana Kanda. This is the spiritual platform or the platform of worship. So these are the three sections in the Vedas. So if the Upasana Kanda is a final section and describes how one should be engaged in spiritual activities. This is how the Vedas guides one from the lowest realm of consciousness to the highest realm of consciousness. All the instructions are there ultimately to transcend the material platform. So these instructions are not there to remain in the Karma Kanda or to remain on the bodily platform. One needs to transcend the Karma Kanda and come to the platform of knowledge, and then transcend from the platform of knowledge to the platform of worship, rendering service to the Supreme Lord. It's very scientific. From this material nature. So we can say that the Vedas direct us from the material nature to the spiritual nature. But from these sections, these three sections of the Vedas, the mental speculators, Munis, like Gautam and others, they have derived from that six darshans. When Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj spoke with Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan, he explained that how the six darshans factually lead us to the platform of Krishna consciousness. But they are related to this Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda. So the six darshans, just you may know them, but I mention them again: Karma, Mimamsa, or also called or Purva Mimamsa. And then the second is Nyaya, logic. Then Vaisheshika, the atomic theory, and then Sankhya, analysis of the material element. Then Yoga, how to get in contact with the super soul. And the last one is Uttara Mimamsa. So these are six darshans. So the Purva Mimamsa deals with Karma Kanda. So this is related to Karma Kanda. the Karmakanda section of the Vedas has been analyzed by this Purva Mimamsa philosophy. The Jnana Kanda has flourished to 4 philosophies. So that is all part Nyaya is Jnana, Jnana Kanda, Vaisheshika is Jnana Kanda, Sankhya is Jnana Kanda, Yoga is also considered Jnana Kanda. But and then we have the Upasana Kanda. It's the Uttaramimamsa. That is the Upasana Kanda. So we have then the Karma Kanda section teaches us how to enjoy material nature and uplift one's consciousness to the platform of knowledge. That's, Nyaya is logic. Vaisheshika, you can say that's atomic study, theory. Sankhya is analytical, so study of material nature. Yoga is the process of linking up. Yoga is linking up with the super soul. And then the Upasana Kanda, that's devotional service. It's the ultimate goal. So nowadays, due to atheistic speculation, most of these philosophies have become atheistic, especially the Karmakanda philosophies. They derived some atheistic conclusion out of their philosophies. That Vaishnava philosophy puts everything together, how they develop from one to another, and finally they come to the conclusion. Ultimate culmination of Upasana Kanda is Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord given to us by Lord Chaitanya. Briefly, we can discuss how it gradually is progressing from one another. The first is Karma Mimamsa. It states that good action leads to enjoyment and bad action leads to suffering. No one wants to suffer, so everyone must perform good activities. Good activities means acting according to the Vedic instruction. Karma Kanda means you want to enjoy. Okay, you want to enjoy. You act in a prescribed way, and you will enjoy. You want to become very rich. So the prescription is given in the Vedas. You can become very rich. Or you want to become a king of the earth planets? Okay, you perform this and this sacrifices. Or you want to become Indra, the king of heaven. There is a description, 100 Jagya, Asvamedha Jagya, and so on. So you can even take the position of Brahma if you like. Generally, the Karma Kanda leads to the heavenly planets. But an intelligent man comes to the conclusion that despite all these attempts to enjoy, I cannot enjoy in this material nature. That's the platform of knowledge. I may even become Indra, but still I'm not enjoying. Why am I not enjoying? Why am I still ending up in suffering? Then that brings one to Jnana Kanda. And the first is Nyaya. Especially the Buddhists, they are dealing with Nyaya. They are analyzing what's the cause of suffering. And Nyaya analyzes 21 reasons of suffering. The first cause is the body, they say. And then they analyze how each part of the body can inflict pain and that there is practically no pleasure of that part. That what pleasure can your liver give you? So the body is designed to give us pain. 6 senses are a cause of suffering. The conclusion is the material nature is a place of suffering. They realize that there is no enjoyment, only suffering. Then they analyze material nature. And what is material nature? Vaisheshika. It exists of atoms, paramanus. So they want to analyze the material nature to Sankhya philosophy. After that, they have the 5 first elements, Bhumira, Panalabhya, Kam, and then the 3 subtle elements, Buddhi, Manas, Ahankar, 5 working senses, 5 knowledge gathering senses, 5 objects of the senses, and that comes all from the Mahatattva, 24 elements, these 24 of what's the subject of these 24 elements? The subject is I. Without I, material nature cannot exist for me. So how do I realize this I? Bhagavad Gita 7:6, Krishna says, Apayam itaspamyam pragati vidime param. Beyond this inferior nature, there's a superior nature. So when the living entity is withdrawn from material nature stops functioning. The spiritual nature is a subject sustaining material nature. So the spiritual souls are many and minute in quantity. The super soul is the spirit soul, they conclude, is the 25th element. And the super soul is the 26th element, the Lord into the heart. So they consider then what is the relationship between the soul and the super soul. And then they come to yoga. That relationship is established by yoga. Yoga to link up the soul with the super soul by Astanga yoga. Eightfold yoga system. Yam, one reads scriptures so that one knows the rules, and then niyam, internal purification, one must develop compassion, that ashan, sitting postures, then pranayam, controlling the 5 life airs, that when bring them in harmony, so that one becomes peaceful. That pratyahara, withdraw yourself from the external senses, go inward, and then begin dhyan, meditation, and then dharan, one becomes fixed in meditation, or they meditate on the Lord in the heart, not on nothing, on the Lord in the heart. That's their meditation. Then finally they come to samadhi, trance, and they perceive the Lord in the heart. So we know in the Bhagavatam, in this first canto, Narada Muni's previous life will be described, and how he, at a certain moment, he was chanting and he became in ecstasy as I saw the Lord in the heart, but then he disappeared. And a voice came, yes, you will never see me again in this life. That's interesting. That, but in your next life, you will become my personal associate. So then one realizes one's own position after that experience. And then one surrenders to the Lord. And then one transcends the modes of nature and comes to the Upasana Kanda, the worship of the Lord. Upasana Kanda is according to 3 ages different. This worship is different. And that's explained at the end of the Bhagavatam. Kritya Dayato Vishnum Titrayam Chayato Makai Tvapare Parisayam Kalodari Dari Kirtanat. So it said, yes. Whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating Satya Yuga, meditating on Vishnu. In Tetra Yuga by sacrifices, yagyas. And in Dvapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, deity worship. That can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, by Sankirtan. So we are fortunate. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we don't have to go through all these Vedas. About this immediately to the highest. This is the goal. That Upasana Kanda. We have been directly elevated to the transcendental platform. So this was my presentation on this verse. A lot to digest, I think, but I hope that this gives you a deeper insight in the Vedas and how it brings us to the ultimate object of devotional service and Sankirtan. Any questions?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. It was a very nice explanation. And thank you for reminding that Guru Maharaj also explained this. Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's discussion, which also is nicely explained. Maharaj, about the initial part where you mentioned about Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. So from like this modern lifestyle now, when we are grahasthas, and at the same time we are trying to do devotional service, so there is a lot of time conflict. So should I focus on my karma, or should I just leave and try to focus on devotional service? So one example which we have discussed few weeks back also, like when in a career, should I focus on going to the higher level and higher level, because that will give a satisfaction as well as that will give a material prosperity, but at the same time it will give more responsibility, and it will take more time out of your day. So should I just stop there and then just focus 100% on devotional, or try to focus on devotional service more, spend more time on devotional service?
Yeah. I will first speak about the general principle.
Yes,
yes, we have the direct devotional activities that we do. The morning program, what we do now, the chanting, and so on. And regular absorption in Krishna Katha is a must. But we cannot, especially in the beginning, if the heart is still impure, we cannot do that constantly. Therefore, we must do also service. Now, you have different kinds of service. The service you do to maintain your family and so on. You do as a service to please Krishna. That you must dovetail it with Krishna consciousness. Learn to depend on Krishna while you do your work. That so sometimes when we work, we have challenges. If there are challenges, you pray to Krishna, please help me to overcome them. That I'm doing it to you, and I promise I will use the result in your service. So that helps you to connect with Krishna. The second kind of service is direct service in the Sankirtan movement, like running a temple or these activities. These activities are very special because they will bring you the mercy of the Supreme Lord, the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of Prabhupada. We need that mercy. So that's also important. If sometimes there are issues that we must sacrifice a part of our morning program or something, that may happen. But it should not become a regular thing. We must remain balanced. But there are time, place, and circumstances. Like Srila Prabhupada said, yeah, you have to read 2 days a day, 2 hours a day, my books. I cannot do it because I'm 6 to 8 hours busy with preparation of lecture and giving lectures. But of course, that's also I'm 6 to 8 hours busy with Prabhupada's books. So that's a special circumstance. The circumstance, that's equal to reading. That, but should be careful because the elevation to spiritual consciousness depends on the absorption in Krishna consciousness during our morning program. So we should never sacrifice our morning program. Because that gives us the strength to do our service during the day. It's connected. So balance is the key word here. Key balance. And learn to depend more and more on Krishna while you do your work. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, I was taking notes because these are like very valuable, advice, Maharaj. So thank you. You nicely said about, I have never heard this. So you nicely said that, we must do service, and then service also you divide it into two. One is a direct service to Sankirtan movement, and one is the service to your family and your current responsibilities.
Yeah.
So both to be balanced. Very nice, Maharaj.
Yeah.
I was seeing always these as two different things, but you nicely gave the knowledge that that can also be used as a service to Krishna, the family maintenance.
Right. Yeah.
So Maharaj, if you have few minutes, I have some more clarification. Is that okay?
Please.
Maharaj, the 6 darshanas, nicely explained, Maharaj. Thank you. So Purva Mimamsa, I did understand, but is it these darshanas like the soul who is not directly going to devotional service? Does the soul transcend from one darshan to other? Like initially the soul will struggle and then in karma and then go to the next level, which is the logic, and then next level atomic theory. How is it a ladder or for normal soul?
It's these are facilities given. Mostly that it's not really followed by one after another. That it's everyone has his own path. Therefore, Lord Krishna explains karma kanda in the Bhagavad Gita, that karmani vadakaste mahalis kadachana, then it speaks about varnashram, working out of duty, that comes karma yoga. So if one works out of duty and is not attached to the result, then one comes to the platform of knowledge, because the lust is going away from your heart. And you start to, because by the lust, anger, greed, we cannot understand our situation. The identification with the body is too strong. So the identification of the body is still there, because it becomes less strong. And one becomes interested in knowledge. Then one goes to the jnana kanda. One wants to know, why am I suffering? Why am I here? One starts to analyze, who am I? I'm not this body. The Sankhya. And then finally one comes to the conclusion, I'm Brahman. And something, yes, by austerities and so on, I can give up this attachment to this world and realize myself as Brahman. I'm spirit soul. But then they come to the point, yes, spirit soul, but how can I experience it being a spirit soul? And what is this higher power? What keeps me in illusion? Then one starts with yoga, Ashtanga yoga. And to Ashtanga yoga, surely one comes to the experience of the soul and the super soul. And then when they realize the super soul, which is very rare because most are deviated by mystic powers, the intelligent ones, they come to the point of, yes, what is this super soul? It's an expansion of Krishna. And then they come to the platform of devotional service. But you have some who come to the karma kanda, and then they come to the jnana kanda, they start to develop knowledge, but they meet a representative of the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master, and then they understand their situation by meeting a spiritual master, and they go directly to devotional service. So you have different ways to go to devotional service. One can go from the Jnana platform, one can go to the yoga platform, but mostly the essence is what Lord Chaitanya said, Brahmanda Brahmide Konya Bhagavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade by Bhaktidatta Beach. If one is fortunate, after wandering up and down in this material world, by the mercy of Krishna, one meets a bona fide spiritual master. And the bona fide spiritual master gives you the seat of devotional service. So that meeting of a spiritual master can happen at every level and bring you straight to devotional service. But if one has not the Sukriti and is still sinful and so on, Krishna will not do that. Because it's not going against the desire of the spirit soul. But if from the moment we desire liberation, and we desire liberation, and we recognize the existence of the Supreme Lord, these two elements are there. And then one prays to the Supreme Lord for relief, then Krishna sends a bona fide spiritual master. But unfortunately, here in Kali Yuga, like Guru Maharaj explains that also, these 6 darshans have become atheistic. And people are misled. Because you have this Sankhya. The original Sankhya is from Lord Kapila, but later, more recently, this atheistic Kapila came, and because I did a master's in the study of Indian religions. And of course, you study the 6 darshana, and you study also this atheistic philosophy and Sankhya philosophy. And I also studied the Sankhya philosophy from the Bhagavatam. And they are very similar. But atheistic philosophy begins somewhere midway. How did the soul come here in this material nature? They cannot explain. That's no explanation for that. It starts a bit somewhere in the middle. And that's the problem. They got out Krishna as the source, and that makes it atheistic. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, thank you very much.
Good.
Maharaj. Yeah, one last question, Maharaj. So I got a little confused about the Vaisheshika and Sankhya. So if you can just elaborate, Maharaj. So Sankhya, I understood that each and every aspect of the material nature, I believe there are 24 elements.
Yeah.
So all those are separately studied and do. But what is the need of doing Vaisheshika?
Vaisheshika comes before. It's a study of the Paramanu. What is the smallest element in this universe? That and it's the atom. Everything is made of atom. That so by that they come to the conclusion: yes, I'm not these atoms. I'm different from them. But then on the next level, these atoms, they are forming certain elements. And then the deeper analysis comes of the variety in the material world. Also, you have in the modern science, I forgot this, that it's a quantum theory. They come to the point that everything is these so-called atoms or go much smaller as the atoms. And they see it as some waves. It's like an energy, really, they see. And that's interesting. So they are also trying to analyze this smallest point. But in the science, they go always smaller. There's no end to it. There's no end. That you can always go smaller, and it's amazing what they are encountering. That but Vaisheshika is based on this Paraman, is finding the smallest part. But then how the smallest part, how they are forming the material energy. We know there's a DNA and so on, that different DNA and different combinations, and they form these 24 elements. That so anyway, I'm not a scientist, but I'm trying to explain what I understood from it.
It was very nice, Maharaj.
Yeah.
So just to conclude on that, so understanding the Parmanu, then Maharaj, the soul understands that he is not a part of Parmanu. Is that correct? Or is it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Or is it trying to understand that even the smallest particle, Krishna's energy is there?
They are not on that level.
Not like
Krishna is not yet in the picture.
Not in the picture. Okay,
That
got it.
comes later. That comes
Yeah,
later.
that was the confusion. Okay, so this is only on material front days.
Yeah,
Try to
yeah,
find out.
yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, it's very nice.
Good. Next week you will be again in Zealand.
Yes, Maharaj. I will be in,
Okay.
this week only. I will be in Bhagavatam. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Good. Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Very much.
Hare